Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Play on GAA podcast. And this here is a preview of the Sigerson Cup 2022, the most beloved college football tournament in the country. Wasn't around in 2021, Luke. Now it's back for 2022. How much are you looking forward to this year's one?
Oh, look, absolutely. I think it's one of the best competitions I think going, and like we're gonna get into some of the teams here now and some of the talent that's on show. Like it's an absolute cannot miss for especially for intercounty fans and kind of managers looking to see the next prospects coming through. And like we're gonna talk about some of these teams that the standard is just quite frankly ridiculous this year. So yeah, can't wait to watch as much as I can this year.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that this is a real breeding ground for future intercounty talent. I mean, for managers, especially in the big counties, there's so many clubs and so many good players. I feel like colleges are a real way to kind of find hidden gems. If they make it to the top of a DCU team or a UCD team, I feel like the exposure to them leads to intercounty call-ups. Okay, so the way we're going to do our preview for the 2022 Sigerson Cup is by doing our power rankings. We have done our official list of the rankings. Now it should be up on screen there in front of you, the top 15. But for this video and our preview, myself and Luke, we're going to focus on the top 8, starting with 8th place, UCC from Cork. I mean, when you look throughout this team, there's a lot of young talent in the side, the likes of Mark Cronin. Killian Myers-Murphy, of course, has been shooting the lights out for St. Finbarrs, but it's a very, very strong side, Luke. What do you think their strengths are?
Yeah, look, I think around the middle they seem to have a lot there. Especially you look in midfield, they're probably going to have Brian Hayes and Diarmuid O'Connor. Obviously, everyone knows from Kerry, and then look, they've some solid players like Michael Gara being around that midfield area as well. So yeah, they seem strong around there, and as well, looking forward to watching that full forward line. Like already you talked about Killian Myers-Murphy. He'll probably have the two Gainies there beside him as well. So it'll be exciting full forward line too, and also excited to see how Dylan Casey gets on in the full back line following his call up to the Kerry team. So overall, yeah, good solid team, and yeah, I think I would expect them to do well. Probably are lacking a little bit of the senior intercounty experience of some of the other teams we're about to talk about now coming forward though.
Yeah, and also one of your favourite players is in this UCC side, Brian Hayes from St. Finbarrs. Of course, his fitness, how crucial will that be to UCC?
Yeah, I think it'll be absolutely massive. And as well, the other thing to note here is that their kind of hopes are nearly kind of dependent on what happens to Finbarrs going forward. If Finbarrs go for a long run, the club championship, there might be problems probably with Brian Hayes and Killian Myers-Murray being released for the competition as well. So I think that's something to watch out for. But if they can get those players, look, they have a great chance of beating any team on any given day.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. And so moving on then from UCC to Letterkenny IT are a team that are ranked number 7. And they have some names that just jump off the sheet there. Young talents such as Oisin Langan, a very heavy Donegal influence, as you would expect. Some other big names there, the likes of Jason McGee, Quaylon Ward. What did you make of this selection? What do you make of this squad?
Yeah, look, this is a really interesting one as well. I think the other big player we have to mention, I suppose, would have to be then Pater Mogan as well, because like Mogan, I think, was arguably the best player in the Sigerson when it was played the last time, and Letterkenny IT weren't really tipped at all before that competition, and yeah, they made it to the semi-finals the last time and caused some big shocks as well. So I think maybe some of the players are kind of less well known than the other teams, and people might be surprised that we have them ranked ahead of UCC based off that. But I think based off their experience the last time, they really did really well up there. Michael Murphy's involved up there too. So I think they're going to be very, very hard to beat. And like, especially when you'd mentioned that kind of, with the players you've mentioned already, Jason McGee and Quaylon Ward is a very, very good midfield. And I think there's a unity about this team. They're nearly all from Donegal, and they all know each other very, very well. So they expect them to perform really well. And yeah, I think they're completely deserving their top half placement in this competition.
Yeah, I think the unity thing that you mentioned, I think that's a massive factor coming into this Sigerson Cup, because you have to remember that obviously it wasn't played last year. So experience of playing together might be a little bit low for some of the teams in this competition. Before a team that is heavily influenced by Donegal players, perhaps they'll have more experience playing together.
Yeah, look, absolutely, and yeah, a lot of these lads will have played underage football for Donegal too as well. So it's exciting, exciting to watch how these lads get on. Like you already talked there about Ushin Langa, that he might be one of the players coming through real soon as well. So there's you look as well, at Jonathan Toy as well, another good player like that too. That yeah, and Eden Harkin as well, another one that kind of jumps out at you too. So I think. Yeah, I think that they'll be a tough side to beat. They were, from what we can take from the last competition, they're really well organized, and yeah, like just really tough team to break down. So I think yeah, I think they're completely deserving a high placement in the power rankings for this.
Yeah, I agree. So moving up the rankings then to number 6, we have MTUK from Kerry. I mean, again, another side full of young talent. Paul O'Shea is in there. Jack Savage is in there. I mean, some lads that got call-ups to the Kerry team very recently. And then, of course, you have Kerry regulars in there, the likes of Darren Moynihan and Tony Brosnan. This is a very strong side as well. What do you make of these?
Yeah, look, already I think the big thing that jumps out at me here is just how good a watch these are probably going to be, because you've talked about already, like if you're only just looking at the full forward and kind of half forward line already, you've got Darren Moynihan's going to have to be starting in there. Jack Savage is going to have to be starting in there. Jake Foster had a huge club championship for Port Arlington in corner forward, so he's a great chance of playing. Paul O'Shea probably be out wing forward. You've got Tomas O'Shea, who had such a great run with on Gaeltacht a few years back. Tony Brosnan. So if they can find a way to fit all that talent into that forward line and work in a system, like there's an unbelievable amount of talent, and they should be able to put up huge scores. So I think that's probably why that they're ranked kind of this high. Is that like if they can find a way to get all those players gelling together, they can put up huge score lines. And as well, Greg Horn's been called up to play midfield for the Kerry seniors as well. And also kind of in there, you've got Dara Line, and yeah, so there's some Michael Potts as well as another good player in the backs as well. So I think it's a solid team. There might be a bit of questions about the strength of their back line in comparison with the forward line, but I think I'd rank them this high because that's just it's such an exciting forward line on paper, and I really hope that they can find a way to gel them all together.
Yeah, it'll be a very interesting watch, certainly the forward talent that they have, as you've mentioned. Moving up the rankings then again, TUD from the heart of Dublin coming in at number 5, and they have a lot of very promising Dublin underage talent. I mean, you're talking the likes of Kieran Archer, who shot the lights out in the under-20 championship year after year. You're talking Luke Swan, you're talking Mark Lavin, Cathal Hickey as well. For me, there's a very exciting wing back. Just lots of young talent in this side. They're a bit of an unknown quantity because they are such a young team, but I think that they're a threat to anyone in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think you summed it up pretty well there. That it's on paper, this team just looks so exciting, and that kind of combination, the full forward line of Kieran Archer and Luke Swan, like it looks pretty formidable, I think, for everyone. And beside them, you could see someone like Kevin Callahan or Sean Grenham, who are two really good club scoring forwards in there as well. And then just behind them, you can have Ryan Deegan, who's going to be on the fringes of the Dublin team this year as well. So then you can add them in. You've got the likes of Dara Campion and sorry, as you already mentioned, Cathal Hickey from Meath as well. So there's so much talent in this team. Maybe not the level of experience that some of the other teams have, but based off sheer talent alone, like you'd have to rank them very highly, and they'd have to hope that maybe experienced intercounty players like Evan Fortune from Cavan can bring a bit of solidity to that team, because if they can gel all that talent into that team, they could go very far this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they can take a lot of teams by surprise with the young talent that they have, and they will be fearless and they will go for any challenge. Moving then into the top 4, and just want to say before we get into these 4 teams, I wouldn't be surprised if any of these 4 teams won the Sigerson Cup in 2022. The talent level in all these 4 teams is absolutely through the roof. We're going to start with number 4, NUIG. I mean, some of the names that they have, we're talking Jamie Brennan, we're talking Sean Kelly from Galway. I mean, you're talking Tommy Conroy, a man who was pretty hard done by in a lot of people's eyes to not get an All-Star last year. Jamie Brennan has been Donegal's best forward for the last number of years in a lot of people's eyes as well. I mean, what a team these guys have.
Yeah, look, I think this one you're looking at, as opposed to the TUD team that had a series of maybe 15 really promising young players, this team has, I'd say, about 6 or 7 established, very, very good inter-county players. And like you already mentioned some of the names kind of there, but it's a really, really good team. Sean Mulcairn and fullback as well is established for Galway now at this stage. Carl Sweeney's established with Galway too. Matthew Tierney's going to be playing midfield, but it's that forward line I think that's really exciting to me. And particularly the two lads inside are just going to be Jamie Brennan and Tommy Conroy. And like, it's going to be a big, big ask for every team that's playing them to try and shut those two lads down. And even if you do, then you're still going to have Tom McCulhan and Fionn McDonough coming from the half forward line as well. And then Sean Kelly as well. So it's like, it's a very, very good team. And some of those names, like, they're household names all across the country. So, yep, fully deserving it's a place kind of in the up the top of the power rankings. And I think it's a testimony to the 3 teams ahead of them, how good they are, the fact that these are only ranked number 4.
Yeah, without doubt. And of course, the next team in that top 4 is UL from Limerick. And I mean, some of the names at this side as well jump out. I mean, immediately you've got Sean Powter from Cork, who's a flying wing back, cornerback, wherever. He's just a quality footballer. Owen McLaughlin, I mean, the pace that this guy has, unbelievable. Stefan Okumbar just returned from the AFL. He's going to play for Kerry next season. And the obvious one being David Clifford is in this side. I mean, they're stacked up. I mean, they look really, really good.
Yeah, and just to add to that as well, I think the thing with these is that defensively they look really, really strong, and that it's going to be a situation now where you'd imagine that Powter, Morris Shanley, Jack Lane, Owen McLaughlin, Stefan O'Cumbar are all going to be starting in that back line, all inter-county players, all with serious experience there, and like that's going to be a serious team to break down. And then you look at the other end of the field, you've got David Clifford, who's the best player in the country. So like there might be a little bit lacking, I think, outside of him when it comes to forwards, but I think maybe they can rely on the likes of Jack Coyne, maybe Paul Walsh, maybe he's a good player too. Conor O'Callaghan has played some great moments for the Cork underage team as well. So I think based off the talent that they have in their defence, and then obviously the presence of David Clifford there, I think it's very fair to have them ranked up in the top 3 because it's a very, very good side.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, some of the personnel that they have is frightening. So that takes us up to the top 2, and a controversial choice now, as we have put the defending champions DCU second place. But I mean, once again, DCU don't fail to deliver. I mean, the level of talent in their team this year absolutely stacked once again.
Yeah, completely. And you look across this team, and it's just inter-county quality everywhere, I think. And as well, they've kind of managed to mix some like very established inter-county players. Like you're looking at the forward line. The forward line is really interesting in that you have Robert Finnerty, who's completely established himself for Galway. Red Oak Murphy there as well, and Queeveen O'Reilly from Cavan as well. These are all established inter-county forwards. But then you're adding in the likes of Jack Bryant as well, who's the under-20 player of the year as well, coming in there too. So it's a really exciting mix as well. They've retained a few of the players from the last time that they won it as well, particularly Jordan Morrissey, who was absolutely huge from that run too. So it'll be very hard to write off. But I think maybe the thing with DCU is that they have a lot of solid inter-county players this year, and maybe might just be lacking the out-and-out superstar, and that's probably the reason why that they didn't come out. I think number 1, like we're going to get into with our team that's ranked number 1, is just full of inter-county superstars all over, whereas I think this DCU is a really solid 15 with a lot of very good players, but maybe just lacking that really great player.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because we're moving on now to Ulster University, who we have gone with as our number 1 pick for the college squads and our favourites to win the Sigerson Cup for 2022. And when we go through the names, you will really understand why. Conor Glass, Thomas Galligan, Sam Mulroy, Michael McKernan, on and on. The list of talent is unbelievable this time for Ulster University, and really, this is probably one of the best chances they're going to get at winning the Sigerson Cup for a long time.
Yeah, completely. And it's when you look at the spine of this team that you're just thinking that it's going to take some beating to get over the line against these. Like you've Oren Lynch in goal, full back, you can Connor Quinn, Michael McKernan's going to be centre half back. You've Connor Glass and Thomas Gallagher in midfield, and then up front you're looking at Mulroy, Dara Canavan, Mulgrew, Niall Loughlin as well. The list just goes on, and like it's a really, really good team. And that I think the big thing, that the reason why I'd have Ulster over kind of DCU, if they were to play DCU, nobody in kind of was jumping off the page so far from DCU as a starting midfielder, I think. Whereas you look at Ulster's midfield of Galligan and Connor Glass, and you're looking at that, it's Thomas Galligan's won an All-Star. Connor Glass is probably the form midfielder in the country right now and getting headlines all across the country. Michael McKernan's absolutely played out of his skin this year as well. So look, I think that I think it's going to take an almighty effort from whoever would have to beat them this year. So yeah, I think they absolutely have to be the favourites. And if you look at previous years as well, always really well set up, always seems to do very, very well, Ulster University. And I think based off the squads, what we've seen, I think they have to be our favourites, I think, at this stage.
So Ulster University are Play On GAA's official pick to win the 2022 Sigerson Cup. But one thing is for sure, Luke, it'll be an absolute pleasure to watch it this year, having not seen it last year.
Yeah, completely. And I think that a big thing as well is kind of some of the names that we've mentioned there throughout, kind of our players that have expected to kind of make this jump to inter-county this year. Like we kind of already talked maybe about Brian Hayes, Stephen Acumbar, Jack Bryans. These are all players that we're expecting to be seeing get serious game time next year at inter-county level. So it'll be really interesting to watch. And then this competition will be a great gauge of where these lads are at, and if they're at the standard to be playing inter-county just yet. So yeah, I think inter-county managers as well and fans will be both watching on with keen interest.
Yeah, without doubt. I can't wait for it. So guys, that is the Play On GAA podcast preview of the Sigerson Cup for 2022. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to look at all our other content, and don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. And until the next video, guys, take care.